And thank you for helping me pass.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to Hanging Out with Successful Bar Exam Takers. I'm thinking we should call this Hanging Out with People Who Celebrate a Lot. But we've got one of those today. A brand new, about to be like this week, member of the Georgia Bar, Lauren Hayes. Hi Lauren, how are you?
Hi. Good, how are you?
Good. Well, this has got to be a really exciting time for you.
Yes, very surreal, very exciting. I just can't believe it happened, honestly.
Well, George, you took the Georgia Bar exam in February 2017. You passed, but your story goes back before that. This was not your first time taking the exam, right?
Right. It's my third time, yes.
Okay. So why don't you tell our audience a little bit about your background and how it came to be that you were going to take the Georgia Bar, and kind of walk us through that backstory a little bit, if you would.
Okay, my father's an attorney, so I wanted to work with him, and so I got admitted into Florida Coastal Law School in Jacksonville, Florida, and I started law school there, and it was very difficult for me because I had a 2-year-old at the time and a 6-year-old, and so it was just very difficult trying to get the study hours in, trying to, put time away to be with them and, study at the time. And so I finally graduated in December 2015, and my school gave us a free course, the Barbary course that was free that we could do for a bar review. And I decided to do that because it was free. So, and they just raved about it. So I decided to do that. And, I did the whole, 2.5 months of studying, did the Barbary. And I went to take the exam, and I didn't pass the first time. I missed it by 15 points, and it was very, very emotional. And I was just so shocked that I didn't pass. And then so I decided to take it again over the summer. So I spent the whole summer studying, and took it again and didn't pass that time either, because I didn't purchase another program or anything. I just used my notes from last time and, all the Barbary, materials. And I only went up by 2 points. I didn't really make much of an improvement. So this time I decided to, switch it up, and I ended up going with your course. And I did it a little longer this time too. I started the beginning of December. So I had, a full 3.5 months to study and take my time and not, be rushed. But I mean, it was still difficult because of my kids, and having to, set aside time to pick them up from their things and do studying and dinner and baths and stuff like that.
And I want to talk a little bit about that in a minute, because I know that was a big part of your world and the challenge that you faced.
Yes.
So just to sort of recap, you come out of law school, you take the big box bar review, and you do what most people do, and then it doesn't work, and then you do what a lot of people do, which is to try and study on their own using those materials, and that doesn't work.
No.
What was it about Celebration Bar Review when you were looking around that was attractive to you? Why did you think, well, maybe this would be something better for me?
Well, I just saw, so many people that passed after taking it multiple times with your program. And, after I got the materials, I just felt like it just went kind of to the point. It didn't, like the other course just gave you so much information, and it just was just hard to, study all that and do the questions, because the questions were very basic. They didn't go into specifics, and it didn't help me on the MBE. So.
Okay, so that certainly was one difference. Now, obviously, another part of it was that this was home study, which gave you more flexibility.
Yeah.
And at this point, when you're studying now, your kids are probably 3 and 7, 4 and 8? What are their ages at that
Okay,
point?
well, this last time, my daughter's 6 and my son's 11.
Oh, wow, okay, so 6 and 11.
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty active, I imagine, at 6 and 11, a lot going on.
Yes. I mean, the 11-year-old, he can much do his own thing, but the 6-year-old, yes, it was very hard to try to study with her, because she constantly, come in my study room and, want my attention, and it was just very hard with her, yes.
Yeah, she liked being around Mommy. I remember she was part of several of our conversations. That's
yes.
Right. Okay, so in the time that you were studying, what would you say the number of hours per week on average that you were studying, or even what did a regular study day look like for you?
Okay, well, when I first started in December, I was just doing, a couple hours a day, at the most 4, maybe 5, but it was mostly like 3 and 4. I would just, drop the kids off at school and then come home and do a few hours and then take a lunch break and then, do a few more hours and then, get them. And then when January started, that's when I moved into maybe 6 hours. And then February I was doing, more towards 7 to 9 hours, give or take.
Okay.
At the end.
And you're raising the kids on your own, or did you have help?
Well, my parents, they helped me on the weekends and stuff with them, and my boyfriend helped me, getting them from school and things like that. But yeah, it was pretty much on my own with it.
Okay.
Because I was going to say, my family lives in Georgia, so we're 2.5 hours away, so they couldn't get them all the time, but they tried to help when they could.
Right. So what's that like? I have a lot of students and a lot of people in our audience I know who have young children and are taking care of their children as well as trying to study for the bar. That's a real challenge when you're on your own. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like for you?
It was pretty much, putting my schedule around them. Like I said, when I would drop them off at school, I'd come right back home and do some hours and then take a lunch break and then do some more hours. And then, I would fix dinner and stuff like that, and then do a few more hours in the evening if I could. But luckily, my daughter's school, they had an extended care program where I could pick her up at 5:30. I just had to pay, a little extra to pick her up. So that helped me out a lot doing that because I got more, hours in.
Yeah. You were incredibly dedicated, very disciplined in the work that you were doing. Didn't take any long breaks away from your study, right, during that from the time you started. What was your motivation behind all this? I mean, why did you want to be, you'd taken the bar a couple times, hadn't been successful. It's not easy to study with young children. You're on your own. You've got your boyfriend's there. But what was the motivation for you? What was your kind of why behind why did this matter to you?
I just didn't want to fail again. It's crushing to fail. And it's like everything you work for and you work so hard and then you just fail. And I just really wanted to pass. And at this point, I was going to make a life decision whether or not to keep doing it. If I didn't pass it this time, I was going to, go back into what I used to do, teaching or something else. I didn't know if I could even do it again after this. I just had to pass this time.
Yeah.
So that was my most dedication. I just had to pass because if not, I was going to either, like I said, go back into that or maybe take it again, but I wasn't really wanting to.
Okay.
So.
Now, we offer several different levels of mentoring. There's a basic course and a personal course and then a premium course. You chose the personal mentoring course. Can you talk a little bit about why you picked that course and what that meant?
Okay, the reason I picked it because I did need help on my writing and I wanted the support. And, since I was doing it at home, it helped me a lot with that. And you offered a lot of good encouragement and support. And, some days, I had some bad days and it was good to talk to you and be able to pull myself up, And, I also did the thing you said about the Post-it notes, writing down affirmations and posting them around the house and, just different things like that. I needed the support, basically.
Yeah. And we talked about your essays and your performance tests. We talked about your studies generally. And I think you and I had probably something in the order of 15 video conferences throughout the study. Can you characterize a little bit about what that process is like of doing those video conferences with me, at least from your perspective?
Well, just, seeing what I did wrong and, how I could fix it and, getting good feedback with the writing and, it just helped me write better. I wasn't, concise writing. I was all over the place and it just helped.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the writing style. The courses that you had taken before in your law school teach IRAC writing. We used a different writing style where we talked about facts and law and argument. What was that like making the transition, and what did you think about that writing style?
It was very hard at first. I'm not going to lie. It was very hard because I just wasn't used to it, and I was reluctant to use it. But, after using it, I felt like it was a better writing because the reader could see exactly what I was talking about, where I was going and things like that. So, yeah, it was difficult at first. But once I started getting the hang of it and writing it and, I got better at it and it felt right after that.
And you use that style on the exam itself?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, I used it on the exam. Georgia bar questions are very specific, so it was a little hard for me to get in the groove on it, but I did it.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about the multi-state. How did you prepare using our course for multi-state? Was it different than what you had done previously?
Well, I will say, after leaving the bar this time, I felt the best I've ever felt about the MBE. I was really nervous about that was going to fail me, but like I said, that MBE was what really helped me because,
13 points is a huge jump. That
yeah,
is really big. That's
yeah,
really big.
your MBE materials really helped me because that's what I really was praying on. I'm like, that MBE has to go up. It has to. But yeah, I mean, they're just that the questions were just so much more. They were just more difficult and better than the Barbary. I mean, they just helped me tremendously. The questions and y'all's explanation, and I mean, it just helped me with that big time. So
Well, I'm glad. Well,
I just felt like I was just so prepared for it. And I felt like I did actually good this time. The past two times, I did not feel good about it. The first time, I actually ran out of time on it. But this time I felt the best, and I did go up 13 points on the MBE.
that's a
So I
big
did
jump.
do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I did do that. So I'm very proud of that because that's what I needed to pass was that MBE to go up. So
Yeah.
yeah, I felt like your course really prepared me for the MBE because like I said earlier, the Barbary course, they didn't really go into specifics with things. They didn't go into exceptions of the rules. They didn't go into particulars, and that's what you need on that bar. You need those specifics and those type of questions that go into it. So
Yeah.
I felt like I was more prepared, yes.
Yeah. Now, your law school doesn't have a stellar bar pass record.
No.
So,
Yeah,
so that's a
it
bit.
was really bad.
Yeah. So I was trying to be nice.
Yes.
So that's got to be making you feel even better about being able to get over the hump. So what suggestions or recommendations would you have for people when they're thinking if they're in a position where they've taken and failed the bar? What would you tell them to be doing at this point?
I would just say to stay positive about it because if you really work hard, then it will happen. You just gotta stay positive, believe in yourself, and I felt like the MBE is the writing's important too, but I feel like the MBE, if you can get really good at that, then you will pass.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah. So let's talk about going to the exam itself. You've been studying for 3 months now, taking care of everything. How did you feel coming to the test this time?
Well, I was just, I'd done it already two times, so I was just like over it. But, I wasn't as nervous as the other times. I got some sleep, but not as much as I wanted. But, I just went in there and just tried to knock it out, and that was it. But
Yeah.
I'm just,
You pretty much kept to yourself during the exam?
oh yeah, I didn't talk to anybody or anything. I just, went to my hotel and I stayed right near the exam, so I was right there.
Okay. Georgia is about the last jurisdiction in the country to come up with results or release results. That has to be excruciating for you to see the
Yeah.
results rolling in across Florida and New York and California and Texas. And I was like, when is Georgia going to get here? And then
Yeah.
they released a week early, a week earlier than they had originally said they were going to. Talk to me a little bit about what it was like on release day and how you found out about your results.
Okay. Well, my stomach was in knots and I couldn't sit at home. So I went to the beach and I just went there and sat down and just kind of like, just wanted to sit in a quiet place, a peaceful place. And, I was just checking my phone and they released them at like 11:40. And I looked at the email and I was really scared to look at the email because, I didn't want to see that failure again. But, I saw I had passed and I was just like, thank you, God. Because it was just surreal. I mean, I really didn't know what was going to happen, to be honest with you. But I did feel, like I said, the best leaving the exam than I felt the past two times.
And what did your children have to say?
Well, they were very excited and, happy for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my youngest one, I don't think she understands really, but yeah, my oldest one, he does.
Yeah. And he understood that this was a big deal and a big
Yeah.
a big thing to do. Do you think it made a difference for your kids to watch you go through this process and have these situations where you didn't pass and then keep at it and and get to the point of passing?
I mean, I think it did show them that, you want to try to just work hard for something and persevere. And, I think my son understood that. And I even told him when I passed that, see what all my hard work got, I didn't quit. I never gave up with it. and I ended up passing.
Yeah, that's got to be
Yeah.
a really important life lesson for somebody that age to see, particularly mom working hard and making it happen
Yeah.
and getting it all done. Um, if you were looking back on this entire process, what would you say was the biggest challenge for you?
Well, trying to do it with kids. I just didn't have the time where I could just spend hours and, doing studying. I just had to work with them on their schedule. I just think that was the hardest, yeah,
Yeah,
was having them trying to do it.
yeah.
I mean,
I understand. I think it definitely was. I recall several conversations you and I had where you were kind of frazzled. There were things going on at home and kids were sick and you didn't feel great and it was like, and you just kept plugging along. I mean, you were kind of like sort of the immovable force. You just weren't, you just weren't going to give up.
no.
Do you think that makes a difference to have that kind of attitude of I'm not going to give up?
Yes. I think if you stay positive, it really helps because if you start thinking negative, it's just going to put a damper, on your studying. And, some of the time I did think negative and, I would just waste an hour of my time studying that I should have been studying. And I was sitting here, something distracted me or I was getting upset about something. And I mean, that just didn't help me. It just wasted my time. So that's why I mostly tried to stay as positive as I could and tried to block everything else out
Yeah.
because I didn't want to waste time because I didn't have time to waste. I mean, like I said, with the kids, you just don't have time to waste. You have to work around them.
Yeah, you were very efficient. If someone if someone wanted to be efficient in their studies, would you recommend the personal mentoring course? I mean, did it save you time to get the feedback versus
I
trying to
think
figure it out on your own?
yes, I think it helped, like I said, with the essay writing and talking to you, because the past two times I didn't really write out the essays. I just, read the essay question and read the model answer, and I didn't really do the work that I was supposed to do. And I think that helped me, pushed me to do the work and then, do the conferences with you and turn in my work and see what I did wrong and get the feedback. But yeah, I think it helped me with the essay writing, definitely, yes.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm so excited for you. Do you have plans once you told me you're going to get sworn in on Friday? Would you have plans after you become a member of the bar? Something that you're planning to do, or is it still sort of open?
Well, I'm going to go to Georgia and train over the summer with my dad and see how to do everything and stuff like that. And then I'm just going to go from there. I might move there or might move closer to the state line. I'm not sure because my kids go to really good schools, so I'd hate to
Yeah,
move them around.
yeah.
But I'm gonna do that, and then I can do a lot on Skype and things like that,
Right.
and write briefs.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter, Megan, is the senior editor of our course in California, so we work via Skype. It's an interesting experience. I'll just tell you, working with relatives is a lot of fun. It's a little crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how Megan feels about it, but I love it as the dad, so I'm sure your dad must be thrilled. Were your parents excited when they
I hope
got the
so.
news?
Yes, they were excited.
Yeah, that's got to be a big burden and a big relief off
Yes,
for them as
big,
well, right?
yes, big weight lifted, and now I can start my life. I felt like I was just on hold, like I just didn't know what I was gonna do, where I was going. I mean, it was a waiting game, really. So now I can actually, do what I set out to do. This whole 4 years for the law school, and then trying to pass the bar, and I mean that's a long time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm really proud of you, Lauren. You worked really hard and you didn't give up. And
Thank
in
you.
spite of those moments when I know you probably were a bit discouraged and it just seemed like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to keep all these balls up in the air? And I can recall some of those conferences where I thought, oh man, I don't know how she's pulling it all together. But
Yeah.
you kept at it and you did it. And, what a great result and a great success. The Georgia bar results for repeat bar takers were horrible.
Yeah.
And you killed that. And as I say, your law school doesn't have great results either. So all those statistical measures, you just you blow up the model totally.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting, and I'm really pleased for you. And I appreciate so much that you share your story with us today. Any final thoughts you've got? Anything that you would suggest to our audience today? I know there are a lot of people who are retaking bars, might be in Georgia, might be somewhere else, but any other comments or thoughts that you would have for folks in that situation?
I just really recommend your program. It really works. And, don't get discouraged if you haven't passed. Just stay positive and just persevere and don't give up. And like I said, I really recommend your course. It worked for me, and I felt like it's really well put together, and you really helped me, and I passed. So,
well, and
yes.
we didn't pay you to say that, did we?
No, no.
No. Well, listen, I am so thrilled for you, and I know you're going to do great. I know it's going to be a lot of fun for you to work with your dad and to just kind of see where your life goes and sort of starting this new chapter in your life. And I'm sure that for your family, particularly for your children, the pride that they must have in you, even if the 6-year-old doesn't quite know what a bar exam is yet, that she knows it's something special that mommy did. And it really is special. And I just think the world of you. You're a terrific person, and I know you're going to be a terrific member of the bar. So I'm excited to see you in the Georgia bar.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for sharing with us today. It's great to see you. I hope you'll come back and check in with us from time to time and let us know how things are going. And to our audience today, thank you for being part and watching these interviews that we do. They're so much fun for me. It's great to be able to come back and visit students like Lauren that I enjoyed so much. So thanks to everybody, and we'll say goodbye for now and see all of you on the pass list like Lauren, hopefully in the very near future. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.